On the surface, the earth is full of beauty, mystery, and wonder, but underneath the ground that we walk on lies greater secrets waiting to be uncovered. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at these 3 mysterious ancient discoveries. Egyptian prosthetic toe. In a graveyard hill west of Luxor, Egypt, a one-of-a-kind discovery was made when researchers found a 3,000-year-old wooden toe attached to a female mummy. It dates back to the early Iron Age, or more than 2,600 years ago. Scientists were astounded by the design and accuracy of the wooden prosthetic, considering that modern medical technologies such as X-ray and computer imaging weren't available at the time. This discovery further proves the high intellectual capabilities of ancient Egyptians, and shows us that injuries such as losing a toe were adequately attended to. Scientists from the University of Manchester, led by Dr. Jackie Finch, have studied the ancient toe and found that aside from the wood, it also has leather materials and a hinge. A belt strap affixes the device to the foot, causing little to no discomfort for the wearer. The artistry of the design is highly evident with the aesthetic of the prosthetic, that it even features a carved-out toenail. Dr. Finch built highly accurate replicas. He invited 2 volunteers to test whether the prosthetic toe has indeed helped their owner improve the quality of life. According to the volunteers, they didn't have any trouble walking, and it looks natural, especially when worn with Egyptian sandals. Based on how this handmade device intricately fits the wearer, researchers determined that the wooden toe had been refitted and adjusted several times over the wearer's life, to make sure that it looked and felt as comfortable and natural as possible. The wearer of the wooden prosthetic is known to be a wealthy daughter of a priest. Researchers believe that she may have lost her toe due to complications with diabetes. The mummy was located in an older burial chapel, a place that's known to have been home for upper-class people with ties to the reigning royal family. The wearer's social status and wealth afforded her one of the best ancient medical technologies ever discovered. The invention and exploration of prosthetics in medicine didn't happen until the Dark Ages, when tradesmen started to sell artificial limbs to knights who would lose body parts during combat. In the late 16th century, a French surgeon introduced modern amputation and prosthetics to a medical community. However, the earliest invention and use of prosthetics are still attributed to the ancient Egyptians, as proven by the 3,000-year-old prosthetic toe. Today, this artifact is housed in the Egyptian Museum of Cairo. When thinking about ancient Egypt, the Great Pyramids are mostly what come to mind. Knowing that as early as 600 BC, ancient Egyptians had been so medically advanced that they can effectively create a medical solution for a severed toe, some have said that it may not seem as shocking anymore that they built the amazing pyramids by themselves. The New York Vault Skeletons. Unearthed under the iconic Washington Square Park in New York City are 2 vaults containing human remains that are believed to be from the 18th century. No one knew that underneath the busy metropolis, human remains lay undisturbed for more than 100 years. In November 2015, a few days after All Souls Day, a group of workers from the Department of Design and Construction were tasked to upgrade century-old water mains. After digging only 3 feet below the ground, they were surprised to discover 2 burial vaults side by side containing human skeletons. Both vaults were 15 by 20 feet big and 8 feet deep and had wooden doors. The first vault contained 9 to 12 skulls and skeletons that appeared to have been pushed into a corner. The second vault housed more than a dozen intact wooden coffins with inscribed names and dates of death. The crypts were built during the late 18th century and are believed to be connected to one of the 2 churches in the area. Archaeologist Alyssa Luria, who spearheads a team tasked by the city to study discoveries such as this, gathered a team of researchers to identify the people buried within the vaults. this eerie discovery isn't something new for Washington Square Park. In 2008, 4 human remains were found by archaeologists during soil testing. During a park redesign construction in 2009, workers found James Jackson's tombstone. He was a Democrat-Republican politician who died in 1806. The biggest questions surrounding these creepy unearthings are why human remains being found in the park and how did they get there? When the news first broke out in 2008, people all over the world, especially New Yorkers, were very eager to know the truth. Historians explain that Washington Square Park is a 10-acre stretch that was once used as a potter's field, or a common burial place for the late 18th century to the early 19th century. They believe that there are more than 20,000 people buried in the park. Most of them were poor, Indians, and victims of the yellow fever epidemic. Washington Square Park isn't just a place for picnics and morning runs anymore. It's now regarded as a historic spot, which is also the final resting place for thousands of early New Yorkers. Constructions and upgrades underground will continue over the years, and the 2 recently discovered vaults of human remains won't be the last tombs to be found. It's only a matter of time before more skeletons are discovered. The city promises to uphold strict protocols and treat any remains that will be unearthed with honour and respect. The practice of giving proper burials to the dead is centred around the values of honouring and memorialising the departed. The park was built on a graveyard, and the people buried under it have been forgotten. It's considered hallowed ground by many Americans. Citizens are calling for the installation of expanded signage to let park visitors know that although it's a park, Washington Square is also a cemetery. Egyptian cheese found. A 3,300-year-old cheese was found in an ancient tomb in Egypt. Contained in an earthenware jar, the lumpy hunk of cheese is believed to be the world's oldest sample of solid cheese. Before this, early pieces of evidence of cheese making were found in European countries such as Poland and Croatia, and these dated back 8,000 years ago. While the exact origin of cheese is still unconfirmed, the discovery of ancient cheese is the first evidence of it ever existing in early civilizations of Egypt. Among the collection of jars in the tomb, one artifact stood out. Researchers were puzzled and unable to identify what exactly the substance they found was. They initially described it as solidified whitish mass. They decided to bring it back to the lab to be analysed. Enrico Greco spearheaded the team of chemists who studied the substance. After dissolving a sample, they were able to extract protein, which revealed that it is rudimentary remains of cheese from thousands of years ago. The dissolved sample also revealed that the cheese was once wrapped in canvas fabric and was stored in an earthenware jar to be preserved. The tomb where the cheese was found is located at the Saqqara necropolis on the side of Pyramid Unas, which is near Cairo. It belonged to an official who lived in the 13th century BC. He served as a high-ranking official under Pharaoh Seti I and his successor Ramesses II. The tomb was first excavated in 1885 by European explorers. It got lost due to shifting sands, and no one recorded its exact location. This cheese artifact astounded the archaeological communities all over the world, as well as ordinary cheese-loving people. The biggest question everyone asked was, what did the cheese taste like? Greco found that the cheese was mostly made from goat and sheep's milk. However, he couldn't conclude a specific flavour. Unfortunately, there wasn't any record of anyone taking a bite of the ancient cheese, so no one could give an exact description. According to cheese historian and chemist Professor Paul Kinstedt, the 3,300-year-old cheese would have had a strong acidy bite. Greco's team of chemists who studied the cheese also found traces of an infectious disease caused by a bacterium that comes from unpasteurized dairy products. It's safe to say that it's for the best that no one dared to have a taste of the old cheese. The discovery proves the wonders of the ancient Egyptian world, that even to this day, scientists are still finding astounding artifacts that prove how advanced their way of life was, even in the absence of modern technology. This also teaches the world that one thing our civilization has in common with the early Egyptians is our mutual love for cheese. So what do you make of these interesting ancient discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.